Hi everybody, today we have a great game between Jordan van Foreest and Anish Giri playing Chessable Masters 2012. Today this tournament is about 15-minute tournament. Anish Giri had the black pieces, Foreest is on the white side, and he starts with a knight to f3, knight to f6, b3, g6, bishop to b2, bishop to g7, g3, and the opening used in this game is red opening. b5, knight to a3, b4, kicking that knight to c4, a5, e4. We had castle kingside, e5, kicking that knight to e4 square, and we have bishop to g2 from Foreest. d5, kicking knight to e3, and c5 immediately from Anish. White side castle, but that is not the best move in this position. He didn't find this knight capture d5 move, and after queen recapture, knight to g5 with a double attack. And if you example try to defend this, simply queen to e2, a4, knight takes, knight, queen retreats, and after smoke clear, white is slightly better. Instead of that, we have castle kingside, knight to c6, and we have rook to e1. Again, he didn't find the similar idea. He didn't find the similar idea in this position, which is knight takes d5, queen takes d5, knight to g5 with a double attack on this knight, queen takes d2, bishop takes e4, queen takes g5, f4, attacking the queen, queen to g4, bishop takes c6, rook attacks that bishop, and he 3 to f3, and queen to e6. And after smokes are clear, they are both equal. So nothing of this happening in the game. Instead of that, we have rook to e1. Bishop to e6 from Anish, and c4, trying to break up, open the game with this move. He hit with the b pawn, b takes c3, en passant, d takes c3, and a4. b takes a4, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, b takes e5, knight takes d5, a lot of exchanging from now, b takes d5, bishop takes e4, bishop takes e4, rook takes e4, queen takes queen, rook takes rook, bishop to d6, we have bishop to c1, rook to a6, bishop to g5, trying to win some material, and he kicked that bishop to f6, bishop takes f4, he take this bishop with the g pawn, and from this capture position is equal according to engine. King to f7, in the end game you always want to bring your king closer to the center of the board. It's a general rule in chess. Rook to e1, double attack on that pawn, and he defend that with rook to a7. Anish defend with this move, king to g2, rook to d8 from Anish. Foreest play rook to e2, rook to d6, shuffling pieces in the best position. And now we had this move from Foreest, f5, and this is not the best move. The best continuation is simply play rook to c4, and the position is equal, but he play f5 and decrease his position about 2 pawns. G takes f5, and he immediately play rook to h4 with the idea to capture this h7 pawn. Anish defend that with king to g6, but better it was king to g7. King to g6, we had rook to e1 from Foreest, h6, rook to g3 check, king to f7, rook takes h5. On the other side, rook takes a4, rook h7 check, and he brings king even closer to the center, king to e6, h4 from Jorden, f4, rook to f3, rook to d8, rook to g7 from Foreest, rook to h8 with the idea to capture this pawn, and he defend with a king, and this is not the best move. This move decrease white position about 3 pawns, almost 4 pawns, so not a best move from Jorden. The best continuation is rook to h3 and defend put the rook behind the pawn, and you have the passed pawn. But he put his king on the h3, and we have king to f5, and also Anish blunder in this position. After this move, game is equal according to engine. In this position, the best continuation for Anish was to play rook to e1, and after king to g4, f5, king to h3, king to f6, rook to g1, e5, c4, rook to c4, rook to b3, f3, rook to b6 check, king to e7, rook to b7 check, king to e6, rook to b6 check, king to d5, rook to d1 check, rook from b to b1, and black side is absolutely winning after this continuation. Instead of that, we don't have this continuation. We have king to f5, rook to e7, rook to a8 from Anish Giri, and rook to c7 was absolute blunder from Foreest. After this move, his position crumbled. After this move, after this 39 move, rook to c7, you have two ways to crush his position. First one is simply capture this pawn, and after white king recapture, it's simple mate. Rook to h8 check, and after you blockade with this rook, it's checkmate. There is no free square for the white king. And the other position which Anish play actually in the game is simply king to e4, and this white rook had no escaping squares. If you try to defend this rook, you simply play rook to h8 check, and when your king escape, you simply capture free rook, and you have easy win from this. That's why after this move, king to e4, Jorden van Foreest resigned the game, and absolutely brilliant finish from Anish Giri. Tell me, what do you think about this game? I will inform you from this tournament today and tomorrow, and have a nice day. See ya.